You guys give me a second. Okay. Hello, 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 hello to all my uniques out there. This is your favorite girl, Akudo. Welcome to Real Talk with Unique. For today's episode, we're going to talk about hashtag EndSARS. Hold on. So we're going to talk about why is it repeating itself? Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so the topic is hashtag EndSARS in Nigeria. And today I have some gentlemen in the house. Okay, I have people, timber or caliber men, that are going to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it myself because I might not have the information. So I wanted to get people that will come and speak on it. To all my returning subscribers, hello and welcome back. For those of you that are not part of my family, what are you waiting for? You see the button that says subscribe, click on that button. Wait for the notification bell. Click on that one too, so you will be the first to see my video when they drop. Now, let's jump right into it. The first guest speaker is Mr. Joel Nwokoma. Nwokoma, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joel Nwokoma. I am a journalist. I'm a rights activist also. I live in Lagos, where I work. I've been working towards a better Nigeria, working towards social change, working towards holding government accountable, working towards civic participation in governance for the past 20 years. And it's a pleasure meeting you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, the next guest speaker is Mr. Oyebisi Babatunde. Introduce yourself. Tunde Babatunde, introduce yourself.
Government accountable, working towards civic participation in governance.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Oyebisi Babatunde Oluseyi, and I work with the Nigerian Network of NGOs, an organization that has, for 28 years, worked on ensuring that nonprofits in Nigeria can work effectively, including bringing their voices to development on a range of issues from health, education, agriculture, youth development, participatory democracy, amongst other things. So it's good to be here this afternoon and morning in America.
All right, my guys, I promised you guys I was always going to bring the best. I don't deal with people that don't know what they're doing. From their introduction, you see these two men. In Igbo language, we say, they are the gatekeepers of the information. All right? So please, before we even go any further, what is EndSARS? Can you tell us how? First of all, what is SARS? Most of us don't know what it is. What is SARS? Let me start with you, Joel. What is SARS?
Okay, just SARS is a unit of the Nigerian police force. SARS actually is an acronym for Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Okay. It's a squad that was set up in 1984. Interestingly, under a certain Major General Mohammed Buhari, when he was the head of state. In 1984, there was increased that the best way to deal with it, that would be well equipped with the right sophistication and the right training to deal with the ramifications of robbery that was unfolding then. So that was the origin of SARS. So then it was indeed a terror unit against armed robbery. It did worked effectively towards taking the battle to the armed robbery gangs. Interestingly, the question would be why do you need a special unit to fight armed robbery? Is the job of the police not to fight robbery? We discovered, in the 80s then, that the armed robbery, the robbery gangs then were becoming more sophisticated,
yes.
and the Nigerian police needed, yeah, they were becoming sophisticated in the use of arms. So the Nigerian, yeah, yeah. So the Nigerian police needed also to match, to match their sophistication with the relevant training and equipment. So they got this unit off from the mainstream police and trained them, equipped them, and armed them to take the battle to the armed robbers. You know, it brought some relative peace, it brought some relative sanity, it brought some relative ease for Nigerians, you know, to save them from the scourge of the armed robbers. So as of then in the 80s, SARS was a terror indeed. You never used to see it around. You could only, it was a special purpose unit of the police, you know, created to achieve and address a certain identified social scourge, which is armed robbery.
So so in essence, what you're saying is that he was just dedicated for armed robbery, and when they started, they were good. They were fighting armed robbery, and they don't just come out randomly. They only come for that special armed robbery thing to deal with it. Okay. So YBC, what would you add to that?
Yeah.
So YBC, can you add something to that? They don't just come out randomly. They only come for that special.
Yes, I think Mr. Nwokwema has provided that background as to how it started, from preventing or arresting issues around robbery to car theft, to vandalism, to kidnapping. You know, those were the issues they were known for. And the modus operandi at that time also is that, you know, they go for those specialized actions, in quote, and they come back to the office. So basically that's how it started, and that's what they were established for. I guess 1984 or 1992, I'm not sure, but, you know, they were formed and we have them now.
So how, from what you guys are saying, what happened? How did we go from a unit that was fighting crime, fighting armed robbery, kidnapping? How did they go from that to now EndSARS? What's the relationship? What happened? Who wants to go first? Oh, yeah, BC.
Okay. All right. Perhaps let me add before I go further.
Okay.
The Nigerian police still has some other units. Okay. That's the traffic unit of the Nigerian police. There is the one they call mobile police unit of the police. That one is anti-riot squad. Okay. The anti-riot squad is unit dedicated to quelling riots, to quelling any riot. As of that point in time, it was duly under the military. So the military was not as well disposed to protest, to demonstration. So anything that could predispose to a breach of peace, the anti-riot squad of the Nigerian police was the arm of the Nigerian police to deal with such. Okay. Then the other one we could relate with easily was the traffic unit of the Nigerian police that helped to manage traffic on the roads.
On the road.
Now,
okay.
in the course of time, you know, like everything or some of the things that has happened, you know, as a result of leadership crisis in the country, the main objective of SARS now became watered down. So that was how we could see a unit that was meant to fight armed robbery on call. It is not that it is visible. It is they can only be deployed when there is a report. Okay. When there is a report, they were not visible. You couldn't see them on the road. So now, over the time, because of impunity, you know, over the time, the operatives of SARS now became to see themselves as law on themselves. They were no longer subject to control. Everybody was on his own, going about, you know. So it just went its way. It went way higher. You know, but perhaps we may understand how it went higher from our understanding of the origin of Nigerian police. The Nigerian police is a creation of the colonial force. It was a force created to quell resistance of Africans who needed independence, who were asking for independence. So by the time we got independence, what used to be a colonial force transmuted into a Nigerian police force. So there was no orientation for a police unit that could protect rights of citizens. So I think this point must be made clear. Why Nigerian police force? It's interesting to note that the word force is suffixed to the name of Nigerian Police Force, NPF. Became an arm of the ruling class of the state. Not to protect citizens
anymore. Okay.
Yeah, it was not created to protect the citizens. It was actually created to protect the state.
Okay.
Originally it was created to protect the colonial state. Now, with the emergence of independence, there was no ideological winning. There was no effort to ideologically, extricate it from this origin. So what we had was they removed the name and still pushed it. There was no attempt, essentially, to create a police unit that was independent, that was respecting the Nigerian rights. So that is the problem. And we keep saying that any reform of the Nigerian police that does not look at its origin, that does not look at the origin of the Nigerian police, will not be effective, will not be efficient.
Will not be efficient.
Yeah.
Okay. OYBC, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of strategy, you always think about the history of something. So that historical background helps us to now put a couple of other issues in perspective. One of such is how, as citizens, we have also used SARS to threaten our fellow citizens or fellow humans that are not within the same class.
Let me come in there. I want you to explain that so that somebody listening out there, how are fellow citizens using SARS to threaten fellow citizens?
Okay, so Akudo, as you heard now, let's imagine that I sell something to you, okay, and you refuse to give me money for that thing.
Okay.
Rather than following the normal process of dialogue, engaging, and maybe sue you to the court of law, I speak to a friend in SARS and they come pick you, they harass you, then you pay me. All right. You find them also getting engaged in issues around land. You find them getting engaged in civil relationships that doesn't even require the police, that you can just protect. So we give them too much of that powers in those areas also. And because there's no oversight of their operations also, for instance, there's corruption there. If a SARS official leaves the office, okay, he or she goes out with a gun. When he or she comes back and one of the bullets has been used, he has to account for it.
You have to account
for it. And when you account for it, there has to be a detailed reason as to why you shot.
You shot that,
someone. And that has to be reviewed and looked at within that mechanism of from the armory to the gun being with you, and also to reporting why one of the bullets are missing. That mechanism also did not work. Why? Because a couple of people within the system benefit from whatever the SARS, guys bring from the field, in quote. So you don't have, you don't have a rank and file that can say, hey, Oga, waiting happen there. Because they'll find a way of covering it, and
because everybody's getting a share.
Yes, absolutely. So we have also that. So I've spoken that we've talked about the historical perspective. We've talked about how citizens themselves have used, SARS, the police and the army to harass and intimidate each other. Now we're talking also about that oversight that wasn't there, including the role that corruption has played in all of this. So when you then look at all of this, again, now marrying it to the population of the country where we need more hands in terms of policing. So can we consciously assume that they were on the streets because we need more hands for policing? But when they got, to the field, their modus operandi changes and they started behaving the way they should behave. So all of those elements are what we're teasing so that we can, again, at the end of the day, find a meaningful solution to this.
So because of all this, you talked about corruption, you talked about oversight, we talked about leadership, we talked about citizens using it. So all this was the reason why we started this hashtag EndSARS? Is that why?
Yes, I think there may be also need for me to amplify what BC has just said there now. Now, earlier I said that SARS is a unit of the place. It is not just a unit, it is an ad hoc unit. It is an ad hoc unit because operatives of SARS are actually taken, they are recruited from the conventional police divisions. You know, so they go to a division of police and take 2 or 3 people and put them. Oh, I read the story. We interviewed a former SARS member, SARS operative, you know, who said that the police officers actually bribed to be sent to SARS unit.
Wow.
Yes. That they actually bribed to be sent to SARS unit. Now, because it is an ad hoc unit, they do not respect the conventional leadership of the police. For instance, every police officer posted to a division is answerable to the DPO. But I had a story of a SARS operative who was to leave a particular. Where are you going to? So my guy is calling me. My commander is calling me. So he dared not talk back to the discipline. And because of what BC called corruption, it has just been the system has been corrupted so much so that there is no longer respect for laid down rules and that command and control structure. So they no longer.
Hold on a second. So do you think the SARS, that unit, that ad hoc unit, do you think they are more important than the other part of the police force? Joel, are you there? Joel,
hello?
Yeah, are you there?
Okay, can you take it again, please?
I said, so from what you're saying, so does it mean that the SARS, the people in SARS, do they think they are more important than the other part of the police force?
Can you take it again, please? Yes, they actually see themselves as far more important to the people because of the interface, because of that interface. You know, in a society that is based on capture, you know, the institutions of state have been captured by the ruling class. So your ability, your perception in society, your value in society is defined essentially by how much you are able to call on institutions of state to do your bidding. And that also comes with some perks. So when I say that, somebody said that those who were deployed to SARS were actually bribed themselves. Some of them actually bribed themselves to belong there. And when you pay for something, you know, you are not paying for it for service. You are paying to make ends meet.
And to make back your money.
Exactly. So now the question you ask me is that what led to EndSARS? Yes, that is the root. That release, that lack of control, that lack of coordination, that lack of discipline, you know, in the unit that predisposed operatives to do as they like. I told you the story of the guy who refused to submit himself to the DPO, and he does not see himself any longer as subject to the dictate and directive of the DPO. He sees himself more answerable to his commander, and his commander sees himself as a unit answerable to a higher authority. So that is it. So they now became a law to themselves. Instead of fighting the original battle, they became a mast in other social things that were not in their original what they were asked to do.
Exactly.
So they were not. Indeed, they fight robbery, they fight kidnapping, but they became something else. They became antagonistic to the people. The corruption in the system now led them to begin to see other ways of making money. It now became a money-making unit. And they make the money at the expense of the rights of the citizens. You know, so you now see people make complaints that wait a minute, you see somebody carrying a laptop as an anti-robbery, that is not part of your brief. Your brief is not to see somebody who carry a laptop and ask him what is in your laptop. Can you open your laptop? And by reason of having arrested you for your laptop, you must pay yourself out. Now they criminalize every aspect of social life. So much so that the hairstyle you carry, for instance, the type of hairstyle you carry now in Nigeria, you may have been a victim of SARS. They will say, come on, you're not supposed to be wearing this type of hairstyle. Or you'll see you on tattoo. And they say, what a minute, why are you wearing this tattoo? So you come and they will take you to ATM and you begin with gun, you will be forced to bring money. So there are stories of people who were not able to pay up as of the time they were arrested, who never came out till death. There are families that were able to raise money and they had the money taken from them, but their family members, their relatives were not released. So the nation witnessed a retrogression of a unit that was meant to do good, that now unraveled in their eyes.
Okay, Oyebisi, let me ask you this. I hear stories that, from what Joel said, they stop you, especially the young boys, the youth. If you have a phone, they want you to unlock your phone so they can go through it. They look at your laptop. If you have like foreign numbers, they want you to call those people. Is this really is this anti-robbery? I don't understand. Why were they doing that? Who brought them to the streets? I thought you said it was an ad hoc group that should not be seen unless they are called. Who brought them to the street to start checking on phones and laptops?
So those are questions young people are asking, plus also the fact that checking someone's phone or asking them to open their laptop is against their privacy.
Exactly.
And it has many times been said by the police hierarchy that the police do not have a right, all right, to check your privacy. But what we see is the reverse most times on the ground. Because I lead a non-profit network, you would find that even our staffs are not immune to this. When our staff are going home, they go with their laptops, they work from home, and they are accosted, by EndSARS or the police itself, asking them to open their laptops and also to open their phones. So it affects everyone, even myself as the executive director. Sometimes when I'm going home with my laptop, I'm like, I have to be careful because of this. So they reign with terror. Yes, they reign totally with terror. And each time you see them, you're not even sometimes seeing them as a police. You don't know whether they're police or whether they're rogues or whether they're hoodlums themselves. But to situate the conversation.
Hold on, let me ask you something. So they actually take you to the ATM and make you withdraw money and give them. Is that not robbery? Is that not?
We have had stories. We have had stories in that regard. Yeah, it hasn't happened to me, but we have had stories, and one can confirm those stories that they take you to the ATM to collect. Sometimes we're told they also even have POS where you don't need to bother, just give them POS and your ATM. Yeah, they've reigned. Yes, they've reigned in a way that is very, very bad, and that's why you find that many of us, a majority, stands by that protest and stands by the activities of young people, because it could be anyone. And we've heard stories of death, we've heard stories of extortion, we've had stories of even people from the diaspora who are coming home and they've been accosted, they've been harassed, they've been denied of their fundamental rights and also of their properties. So this is an issue that affects all of us, from the poor, the rich, the middle income, the man, the woman, the boy, the girl. It's affected. There are issues of rape also from these guys. So one is really, really, sad.
Who are they raping? The people that they accost, who are they raping?
Sometimes they rape female citizens that they've arrested and accused of being what's it called, Yahoo. They are accused of being informants. They are accused of a lot of things. And when a SARS man arrests you, you're panicking. And sometimes you keep saying what you're not meant even to say. They ask you to start calling, and who do you know, so that they can come and bail you. And they're so notorious that when they even kill, that those deaths are not accounted for. And I was hearing a story of someone that was killed. The sister was looking for the guy, and they told the sister that he has been transferred to Abuja So it was someone that called the sister to say, no, it's only people that have been killed that they will tell you when someone has been killed. That's when they tell you that this person has been transferred to Abuja. So these are some of the stories that we hear every day. And one wonders why, this reign of terror cannot be curbed by the police machinery. And that goes back to the history and also the background that Mr. Nwokwema provided just now around that authority and that oversight that I mentioned. I mean, you can't, your DPO, you're not answerable to your DPO, you are answerable to another commander.
Yeah.
Who then gives the shot. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask this question. I want you to answer, and then I want Joel to answer too. Somebody wrote me, and the person wanted to ask you guys this question. Do you think it's because they are not well paid? Do you think that there is a factor, the factor of not being well paid? They say the police people are not paid right. Do you think that is what is pushing them to do all this?
I'm not also well paid, For the work I do here, let me shock you. For the work I do here, if I'm doing this kind of work in America, I'll be on $15,000 per month, okay, with benefits and all the perks, all right? I'm doing this kind of job in Nigeria under less than $1,000. So nobody is paid well. But it doesn't mean because I'm not paid well, I should then now go start killing, So that shouldn't be a justification. Nobody is paid well. Even the senators that are well paid will tell you they are still not paid well. So nobody is paid well. That's not a justification. It is not a justification for you to kill your fellow citizens. It is not a justification for you to rain terror on the streets. Yes, we agree. Salaries has to be better and they must be comfortable.
Yes,
their uniforms must be provided. Yes. Tools for them to work must be provided. Yes. But that is not a reason for you to rain terror on other citizens. It is not going to be justifiable yet.
Mr. Joel, what do you say about that? They say they are not being paid well.
Yes, I can attest to the fact that they are not being paid well, but I can also attest to the fact that that shouldn't be the reason why, like my brother said, that shouldn't be the reason why they should turn themselves from friend of the people to the terrorists of the people. They have turned themselves into agents of state terrorism. Like you said, there's a case of one young lady in Abuja that happened early this year. Some months ago, anyway, Ifeoma Abugu just finished her youth service and went to stay with fiancé or whatever. And the SARS at one end of Abuja, they came to look for him. They didn't see the guy. They picked the guy. They picked the gear. They come with us to the station, so that when your boyfriend comes, he will come for you. The very next day, the young lady was found dead. She had been serially raped and killed. And that's in the police station. In the police station. That's one of the things that enraged the youth. When this story came out, everybody was enraged. So what type of police system is this that can brazenly violate fundamental human rights of people and still work as if but one of the things that also makes people get angry with this or got angry with them is the fact of, I use the word impunity. The authorities do not see any foreboding power to rein on the activities of these elements, because it is when the citizens, when the public see that some stern measures are taken up against such errant operatives, they will have confidence in the system. They will allow the system to correct itself. But as it is now, the citizens do not have confidence. They don't trust the authorities to correct themselves. They do not give the authorities the benefit of the doubt to do what? To fish out the bad eggs in the system and correct them. That is one of the things that got people enraged. Now, back to the question of, you say that they are not being paid, but they can be paid better, but that is not enough reason for them to mutate into a terrorist group that they were before they were disbanded, so to say.
Okay, I really like where we're going. We've talked about the origin, what it stands for, how they became bad. Now, I want to talk about the EndSARS. The EndSARS, hashtag EndSARS, what is it? You guys want them to go, You guys want them to disappear. You guys want them to be taken out. I want to hear the key points. What are they fighting for? What is the key point for EndSARS? Who wants to go?
BC, if you allow me, let me take it from there. And sometime in 2017, yes, 2017, it is not so much that was when the unit started becoming something else, but that was when the consciousness, and the digitization, it must be noted that it was the use of digital devices that amplified the voices of the victims. People were not using digital devices to pass the information, to communicate their ordeal in the hand of these people
were
using Twitter, using Facebook,
videos and stuff like that.
Yes, people were using their phones to record. People were using their phone to record their ordeals in the hand of the police unit. So there was now a consensus. There was now that of consciousness about this element of the police as anti-people and anti-human rights. So that was how they kickstarted the EndSARS movement in 2017. And in response to that, that public opinion that was negative, the federal government said, okay, we have dissolved SARS.
Okay.
And it never lasted. It never lasted after the announcement. The very next day, they were back on the street because of the impunity we talked about. They went back in their...
Joel, hold on. Let me understand this. So SARS has been banned, but they now went into the street.
Oh, they have been banned in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. That was why this last time when they banned it, this people said, no, we don't trust you to be able to live up to your word. Because this is not the first time. So now what they did was to go and bring screenshots of the announcement of the previous bans in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. They said on 4 different occasions, this unit that you have been banning, what is it that it doesn't die? Why is it that you ban it and you ban it again? Now we do not believe you. Yes, you keep banning something that you have banned. We are not stupid. So now, one thing that you also must take note is that from 1999 to 2019, that is 20 years, we have had a generation of young chaps who were born in 1919, who were born into digital world. They become adept in the use of social media. So that is the generation that has amplified this movement. That's the generation that has taken up the whole assignment, the whole objective of communicating and messaging the ordeal of their friends and their family members. Unlike the previous generation, shortly before 2002, when Nigeria started having GSM, the generation before would just, like fella will sing, policeman will flog you, you go turn your face. Policeman will kick you, you go turn your face. This generation, policeman will shoot you, somebody else will be there recording it. What actually led to this? Yes, what actually led to this current movement was the killing of a young man in Ueli, by the same SARS. They shot him in broad daylight, but somebody somewhere else was recording it. The person recorded the killing of that young man and pushed it into Twitter, and the whole place went on fire. Because there was already an existing rage. There's an existing
consciousness.
Yes. So now they say these people consciousness had always been there. So when this guy was killed in Ueli on the 8th of October, everyone's okay. We're not going to take it any longer. So it is a culmination of we don't tire for now. On the 8th of October, everyone's okay. We're not going to take it any longer. So it is a culmination. We not done too much. That's not difficult to mobilize them because they were already digitally mobilized. They already have the issues.
Okay.
All right.
ABC, can you add to that? Can you add to what he said?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the picture. So it started from an online mobilization that got the attention of government at that time. Yes, it wasn't disbanded, it was restructured. But this is the first time we're having a full disbandment, as it were. And again, like we've heard, it's a sad situation and a situation that could have been arrested the first time citizens.
That's true.
And before citizens also started making that noise, I was postulating that non-profits had made that, what's it called? They've given out that information on the need for police reforms, and they've documented a lot of issues around police brutality. So the government did not pick that up. Again, when citizens started complaining and the voice was loud, they didn't pick it up the way it should have been picked up. So all of that led to that distrust that we've seen now, and why the citizens, especially the young people, are saying no more until we see an action in these regards. I mean, this has been 4 or 5 times that you have said, yes, the operations have been disbanded, they should do X, Y, Z. We see them on the streets and nothing has changed. So that's why they decided to say, no, at this time we won't allow this to happen. I mean, I'm doing business with you. The first time you infringed on the terms of the business. Exactly. The second time you infringed. Yes. The fourth time I'm going to do business with you, I will stay with you and say, no. You do it this time or no more. So that's what led to that EndSARS and saying, let's end it and let's ensure that it is ended truly. Yes.
Oh, Lord. So now I'm gonna ask you guys, because we are creating awareness and we're giving people the real information, not just what we see on YouTube or what we see on Facebook. That's why I called 2 of you. What happened at Lekki? I want you guys to talk about the shooting. Was it real? Were those people killed? Where are their parents? Why is it that nobody is talking about it? Tell us about the Lekki shooting. Joel, you go first.
I think it should not be proper to talk about what happened at Lekki without talking about what happened before what happened in Lekki. There's a need for us to be gradual in this.
Okay, go to what happened.
Yes.
we are here to give information.
So what happened before? What happened before what happened at Lekki? It was that on the governor of Lagos State, credit given to him, he was very engaging in managing the protest, because Lagos is a peculiar state. Lagos is a mini Nigeria, 22 million, according to the UNDP, 22 million residents in Lagos State. Almost 50 to 60% of the revenue of Nigeria come from Lagos, and it's also home to, Lagos State, it's also home to multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural system. So it is indeed the epicenter and the hub of Nigeria. And also, it is not for nothing that Lagos State also has the highest number of educated people in Nigeria, the most empowered people in Nigeria. Yes. So that was why the EndSARS movement had to inevitably start. And it didn't start just like that. It also has a history. If you recall, Nigerian independence movement also started in Lagos under Herbert Macaulay, and in 1946. So Lagos has a peculiar place in the history of making Nigeria, and as it is now, in remaking Nigeria. So now, when it happened, yes, in making Nigeria and remaking Nigeria, because we actually started a journey of remaking Nigeria through EndSARS, and that is what this will culminate. Unfortunately, that things turned over the way they turned some days ago. But before that, when the first week, the state governor in Lagos State, was able to engage and appealing to the people, but they were not relenting, partly because of what we said earlier, that the citizens in Nigeria do not trust their government.
They don't.
Because of a history of disappointment. Yes, because of a history of disappointment, so there was no basis of trusting him. Even though he was calling for understanding, but nobody gave him a hoot. Now, beyond taking action, they will ask him for an action plan. Let us know, when do you want to take this action? Who can we hold responsible? Marshal out what action and when? Yes, so that is an action plan they were asking for. And it's okay. He went to the president to say, okay, we are going to do this. We have done this. We have done that. One of which is that one of the demands the youth made on the government is, you must increase the salary of the police officers. You must make working in the police such a very attractive adventure, so that you don't so that you don't leave people who are frustrated and angry to police us. You don't give AK-47 to somebody that doesn't earn good salary, and somebody who lives. Yes, you don't give AK-47 to an angry man Two, you don't make their living environment, their barracks. If you go to the most barracks in Nigeria or stations, you think that you are in dungeon.
Yeah,
they are uninhabitable. They are not fit for human beings.
Look like where you keep animals. They don't. It's not even fit.
Yes. So one of the things about the EndSARS is that it went beyond asking for police reform. We have to begin to ask for accountability. And I begin to ask, we want you not just to end SARS, but to do what? To make policing as a profession attractive to young lads. So that was the system until unfortunately there were some skirmishes around town, and the state government, thinking that it could curtail it, issued a curfew. Announce a curfew at 4 p.m. at a very late time in the day. And the people say, the citizens said that you can't come and you can't give us a curfew at an ungodly time, because Lagos is a place whereby you may spend 6 hours commuting from home to work and go back to that kind of thing. So you should have given us enough time. So the time was not appropriate, apparently because of what happened in Benin City the previous day, whereby the prison in Central Prison in Benin City was burnt. So the state government was trying to be more proactive, to ensure that no such extensive damage was done to the place, to the state. So he came up with the idea of a curfew, but it was not well taken. It was not taken. It didn't go down well with the protesters, who felt that even the curfew is a violation of their fundamental human right to protest. That it is a violation of their right to assemble. Is that the whole essence of the state government, stopping them from carrying out their democratic rights to protest. So that was the background to that incident of that Tuesday, which has now been called the Black Tuesday. Now, what actually happened? By the time the Tuesday evening after 4 p.m., the young chaps had already massed up at the usual place. Now, why is Lekki different? Lekki is the gathering of the way to do in Lagos State. Oh. The Lekki protesting zone is the most colorful. The Lekki area is the most attractive. All the celebrities in Nigeria, all the music icons, they all identified with what was happening in Lekki, because it is located in the most prosperous part of Lagos State. So nobody was actually anticipating that there was going to be any semblance of violence from that area, because it's not an area known for violence. Now, by the end, according to the report, by the end of that Tuesday evening, there was a deployment of troops, which the state government admitted that they didn't know anything about. They didn't know how troops were deployed at the venue of the mass protest. In compliance, according to them, trying to enforce the curfew, there was a deployment of troops from authorities above the governor. That itself was provocative to the protesters. They felt, and there was a game of wit.
Without the governor knowing, how can there be a deployment of people?
Oh, that is constitutionally, the governors are regarded as the chief security officers in Nigeria, but in actual fact, they do not secure anybody. They do not have control over the army. They have no control over the police. So it is the police. The commissioner of police in the state is answerable to the IG, who is answerable to the president. Okay. Unfortunately, the army commander in every state, the army brigade commanders in every state, is not answerable to the governor. It's answerable to the chief, the commander in chief. So the commander in chief could deploy troops at your backyard without informing you, and that was what happened.
Okay.
Yes, it happened. It happened that the troops were deployed in Lagos without the state government knowing.
Okay.
Now that we could see some evidence of shooting, but interestingly, or rather ironically, the army authorities denied ever deploying troops. So now, who actually deployed the troops that we saw in Lagos? Who do you believe? So that's the problem.
I mean, let me jump in there. And also, again, added to the context that has been provided, is to say that the protests were largely peaceful, okay, especially in the Lekki axis, all right? Now, don't forget that they were protesting at a toll gate that provides revenue. Okay. But they've been there for 11 days. While the protest was going on, recall that there were hoodlums attacking the protesters, and the protesters had to get their own security, okay, by bringing dogs, getting bouncers and all of that, actually paying for their own security. Now, that degenerated further, when, everybody, to some extent, were looking for how to get the protesters out of the streets. And there was a curfew. Again, linking it to the background that has been provided before I started talking now. Now, the law of curfew, as I'm made to understand by my colleagues, after thinking it through, they told me, they said to me, the law of curfew is that wherever you are, you stay there. So those guys stayed in Lekki because they couldn't go anywhere, and that's where they should stay.
Exactly.
They couldn't go nowhere, so they stayed there. So it is expected there will be state security for them because they are technically observing the rule of law in terms of curfew. Okay. Now, in terms of whatever happened at Lekki, they were all reports that we heard. So we weren't there physically, but there were reports, all right, that, there was one of a celebrity DJ that did a live streaming of events. I didn't see it, but from the reports that we heard was that there were deaths, there were shootings, there were evidence of bullets, and these are things that independent inquiry that is being set up by the governor needs to look at.
Exactly.
We can't have an unknown soldier in a democracy coming to a place of protest like that and shooting, especially shooting live, bullets. And so these are some of the things we need to unravel. There's a role of misinformation, there's a role of disinformation, there's a role of true information that has happened, but that is being twisted.
Yeah.
All right, in all of this. So there were some stories that were true, but now that have been twisted here and there. So you don't even know what to believe anymore.
Can you please repeat what you said? I like that. There is misinformation.
There's misinformation, there's disinformation, there's fake news, there's the true news that is true, but that has been twisted. That has been twisted. So we're in a state of how do we know the truth?
The truth.
Okay. And how do we ensure that the truth is the truth? Okay. Without discrediting why the citizens went on protest. That is, there's police brutality. That brutality must stop. That brutality is killing our innovation. That brutality is killing our children. That brutality is also hampering our economy.
That's right.
So in all of this, all right, the argument is, who is that unknown soldier? Who ordered the unknown soldiers? That is the inquiry we need to now face with the governor of Lagos State and ensure that we get that right, such that for future, we begin to learn lessons on how to protect things like this, and so that it doesn't escalate to what we have now, where we're in a situation of what the famous Benin legislator will call Iggy Haga. I don't know whether that is right, but it's a problem we have that has to be solved. And we're all in this together, from traditional non-profits to religious non-profits, to citizens, to the media, to our traditional rulers, to everybody. We all have to find a way around this and to ensure that those demands are met. Because it could be your son, it could be my son.
It could be my son.
It could be any of us.
Anybody else.
It could be your son. It could be any one of us. So that's why we must find an end to this. But in finding an end to it, we must again ensure that we do it within the rule of all the right. And the sentiments that we're all throwing, yes, it is fine. But we need to stay objective within those sentiments. Of course, we've seen some organizations come in and say, yeah, we were sorry for tweeting this. And we respect their humility. We respect them for coming out to say, yes, we're sorry tweeting this. But the ones that are right, let's focus on them and get truth out of those that are right. For those that are wrong, yes, misinformation, in the heat of everything, we were all tweeting, we forgive each other. All right, that's where the reconciliation is to happen. And then look at what are the issues. How do we address them? And focus on the issues and address them holistically.
Okay, but let me. Okay, what do you add?
Let me jump in there. Watching the TV some days ago, on the day the thing happened, a notable Nigerian political economist, Professor Patu Tomi, was actually on Channels Live to explain that he was very close to the scene of the shooting, and he was actually able to say that indeed he overheard, because he was talking with some people close to that scene, he overheard shooting into the crowd. So that is a verifiable witness, at a time like this. Now, which goes to counter, if you ask me, the claim by the army authorities that they did not deploy any troop. So now, what happened? The sound of bullets that was heard, at the scene of the protest, and the denial of the military, how do you reconcile it?
How do you reconcile it?
Most critically, how do you reconcile it? Now, but most critically is the need for us to express the fact that there is no need to criminalize and demonize protest in a democracy.
No, that's our civil right.
Protest is a constitution.
Yes.
Yes, protest. The government should be made to know that aside from asking people to vote for them during the election, that part of people participation in governance also includes allowing them to air their views, however critical it might be.
Exactly.
So there are two types of protests: solidarity protests and protests against government policies and government rules. So, so much as government will accept solidarity visits, they should also be human enough to listen to. There must be something that is coming from this protest. What is it that I'm not doing well? And review its policy or review its stand on issues. That is one thing that must be ensured. Yes, we have had 21 years non-broken democracy in Nigeria, but it's apparent that our leaders are mostly not democratic enough to know that protest is not a function of enmity. It is a function of democratic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, Akudo, just to quickly also confirm that and to say that, because myself, I like holding government by statements. So we had the government mentioning over and over time that, protests are a right that they respect. Even the police, did mention that. But what we did not see is the action or enough action that matches that statement as to we respect that right. And when you look at the president's speech also, he did mention that, we respect the right of citizens to civil liberties and all of those bits. So we continue to hold them accountable based on those statements and begin to use that to monitor the actions that they have taken, to then let them see that, your actions did not match that statement that you made on XYZ day. There's a disparity there.
Yeah, because when I was in secondary school, here we call it high school, in secondary school, our principal used to always tell us, your actions speak so loud, I can hear what you're saying. They keep saying this is our right, but the action, like you said, does not match what they're saying. If you say it is our right, then bring us to the table and let's talk. Let's talk about brutality. Let's talk about SARS. You have been promising us every year. Like you guys said, SARS has been banned 2017, 18, 19, 2020, and they are still operating. So it means you are not banning it the right way, or maybe you're just saying it is just words, So, but I want us to talk about the president's speech. How did you think the president's speech went? Did it go well with you guys? Do you think he came out at the right time, or was it a little bit too late? Was it as forceful as you guys wanted? Let's talk about the president's speech. Who wants to go first? Joel.
Let Basic start it.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. So in terms of expectations, as a citizen, I am expecting a speech that comes with the first few lines saying how deeply sorry he is. We missed that. I read through that speech. So by profession, I write speeches and I understand what it means to write a speech, all right?
Write a speech.
Yes. So if I were writing that speech, I would have started with some emotions, all right?
Emotions.
That shows that I am human.
Like you're
I
human
understand
and
the
you can
issues.
relate.
And
relate to
yes,
them.
I show the empathy. That was missing a lot. But in terms of what the speech said, and that I want to hold on to, is where the president said that we have heard you loud and clear. That for me is a statement that means a lot in terms of policy, in terms of actions, and in terms of next steps.
Okay.
I would also like to flag where the president said to the international community that they should verify their facts before they jump into conclusions. That for me is very strong. Absolutely. That for me is very strong in terms of the diplomacy that comes into play when issues like this happen. So it tells me that here is a president that is pressured by that, but it looks like the president also has some alternative information that has given him confidence to be able to look the international community in the eye and say, look here, guys, make sure you verify your facts. Okay? I also look at that speech and begin to see where in the end, there's a commitment to the right of citizens to civil liberty. Again, these are statements that we can continue to use in hooking. Yeah.
To hold them accountable.
Accountable. There's an element of social media that he mentioned as to how the social media has been used in being able to show or to say that the government isn't doing what needs to be done and all of that. And he now went further to itemize what the government is doing. I think that has implications for civic space, including how information coming from social media would be viewed by government. Plus also the reaction of government to the use of social media. All right. Okay. So we need to pay attention to those dynamics. So by and large, when you take out that element of empathy that you did not see, when you take out that element of apology and the fact that that speech refused to acknowledge what happened in Lekki, but it went ahead to mention a couple of that places where things have happened, then you want to look at that gap strategically and say, is there information somewhere that we do not know? And whether there's information somewhere that we do not know or not, there's a part of that speech also where the president said he regretted the deaths, okay? And that, you know, they are they are unnecessary and they're not needful. So at that point, I guess that's where he decided to vent or to say, this is my emotions, I'm sorry about, but it did come out well that way. I'm just trying to say that. Did he actually feel regrets? Yes, he felt the regrets, but, you know, it didn't come out the way we wanted to come out and to say, fellow Nigerians, in the last 3-4 days, I have watched the event and I am deeply sorry for what happened. And I have taken, you know, the
human side of him.
So that sympathy was there somewhere in that speech, but it wasn't the way we would want it to come. And again, you want to also balance it. Not speaking for him, you want to also look at the moment and say, is he trying to show a body language of a no-nonsense government? Hoodlums will not be allowed. We have heard protesters. So writing that, again, talking as a professional who understands speeches and all of that, that's how I've been talking. Now, talking as a human, all right, taking out the professional sense, how would I have done it? I would have started by saying, Nigerians, I'm truly sorry. I'm sorry because XYZ happened and we didn't act ba. But then, these are my actions. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. And in the next 5-6 days, you will continue to see this action. Absolutely, absolutely. So that's my reaction to that, but we shouldn't dismiss that speech. We have to look at it, look at the elements we can use in terms of accountability, look at the elements that tells us what government is thinking, and then use all of that to strategize going forward.
Going forward, okay. Mr. Joel, can you jump in here?
All right, yes, I've already jumped into the lagoon, you know, but I'm safe here in my house.
Please come out, come out of the lagoon.
It's important for me to start by, you know. Okay, thank you very much, Akudo. Let me actually state that somebody once said that whatever is worth doing is worth doing well, and that time in crisis management is of the essence. You know, any communication that is not timeous, that is not timely, would actually lead to certain questions being asked about your ability to manage the crisis and situation. Having said that, anyway, I want to point out that the president waiting for 2 weeks before addressing the citizens, or just being forced out reluctantly, being forced out. You know, there was a gathering opinion, there was a gathering push and pressure from the Senate asking him to address. He ought to have done that before the push. You know, it's interesting to note that just one, I wouldn't say one, a guy was killed in France, you know, by a lone terrorist, and the president of France, Macron, you know, was addressing the country, you know, and there was tension. Everything, all the fault lines of the country were exposed by this EndSARS protest, and we're expecting that a president, you know, sensitive and, you know, and also being adept to managing things like you would have said, okay, my children, I've heard you. My government is doing this, and my government will do this. That was what was expected at the first week. That would have gone a long way in calming down fretness. Then I look at that thing is, somebody once said to me that it is not such what was said, but what was left unsaid. What was left unsaid was that the speech came at a time when there was so much discontent, you know, over the shooting in Lekki, and who has the right, who has the constitutional power to deploy troops aside from the president? Not a person. And who actually deployed the troops that were said to have shot at the protesters? The speech was silent about that. That's a very unfortunate omission. 3 is the fact that there appears to be a disconnect in the presidency, because on two occasions, the first president has actually come out on his own to apologize. We are sorry. We shouldn't have done what you did on 2 occasions, and you're expecting that his principal, who would have also come to say, gentlemen, my children, I'm sorry, my government didn't do. If you don't want to say it as a person, you can say my government is sorry for what we didn't do. That could have gone a long way in calming down. Exactly. Now, like my brother said, there's a need always for government to humanize the interface with the people. You know, the fact that people are angry, are protesting, are making demand, and are furiously insisting that they are not going to step down. When there is a contest between the people and the people that are holding power, it is inevitable that the people will win. So you don't, because you have the power, you have access to arm, to whatever, you know, to coercion, force of coercion, you use it against the people, which is undemocratic, and which is not what the international community takes lightly to. So about the speech, was it a good speech? I was expecting something much more humane. I didn't get it from the speech. I was expecting a speech that was reflective of the mood. Exactly, I was expecting a speech that was reflective of the mood of the moment. I didn't get that. I was expecting a speech that was to address the fact that some young chaps were shot at. Let us take away the contestation over did anybody die or not. The fact that some people were shot at was enough to warrant a mention. That omission was unacceptable to many people. And I think on that note, so many things were left unsaid, much more than we have said.
Okay, so I hope my uniques, I hope you guys are having fun. I told you guys, these 2 people, oh my God, they're like, this is SARS. 2 of them put together is EndSARS. So now we have talked about the origin, what they're doing, how they turned out. We talked about the presidency and everything. I now want to talk to you guys. What next? What next? After this protest, what next? Is there any other thing on the agenda? After the protest, everybody goes home. The president has spoken. What next? Are we going to come to the table? Are we going to talk about this? Governors, are they going to start doing something in their, in their states? The police, Air Force, IG, are they going to do reform? What next? Who goes first? Just what do you guys?
Okay, what next? Yes, what next? I think it is important to note that a number of actions have been taken across the country. That is in response to the heat. Because what happened in the last couple of weeks has never happened before in Nigeria.
Never.
It actually sent. It has actually
a message.
It has never happened before. And what it sent some shivers down the spines of the leadership across board. Because that consciousness that the people have risen, that consciousness that in their numbers, these guys can actually push us out of this place. And that understanding that we are living in a global world, that understanding that we are living in a social media world, when what is happening now in Lagos can be amplified somewhere there in Washington, and that has galvanized and mobilized Nigerians across 20 countries across the world to protest. It has never happened before. So what next is that Nigeria will never be the same again. Never. Nigeria won't be the same again. That flagrant abuse of human rights by constituted authorities will never go unrevealed. You know, it's no longer business as usual for a policeman to accost a citizen and say, I will shoot you and nothing will happen. Now something is happening. This morning I saw the Lagos State government outlining the prosecutions that are taking place against police officers that have been deemed to have violated human rights. So there's an outline, there's an action plan on who to be arraigned before which judge at what date between now and November. That is a key performance indicator. That is one achievement we have had from this. Perhaps they had it in mind to do, but because of the intensity of the protest, they have been fast-tracked. You know, I also see that the person that was alleged to have committed heinous crimes, you know, of abuse of power in Anambra State, SARS, was relieved of his duty as SS security to Anambra State governor. That is a very immediate response to that. And the various state governments have set up. Yes, so and various state governments have also put in have also empaneled panels of inquiry to look into those claims, and have asked people to come. Lagos State has set up his own. Imo State has set up his own. So this is one thing we have achieved. Now, what next? What next is that we are now in the eye of the world. The world now knows that there is a case of police brutality, and there is a case of the government asking its army to shoot at the people that are protesting. So it is no longer something. It's no longer a localized matter. It is not a globalized matter.
So I mean, let me quickly also add to that, and also highlight some positives that I've seen. It is not easy when someone is protesting against you. Let's be factual. You don't like the situation. But we've seen the Lagos State government, we've seen the Oyo State government, we've seen the Ogun State government trying to manage the situation as best as they could. And if there's any model in terms of how to manage protests, these are the three that I'm looking at as a model at this time. So I'm saying to myself, if my staff decide to revolt and to protest against some of my policies, how do I manage it? Because there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. The other is the fact that I appreciate the federal government for keeping the internet open. Is it Zimbabwe just now or Mozambique? They're having elections. The ruling government is winning, and they've just shut down the internet. In all of these 12 days, the federal government kept the internet. Yes, they kept the internet open.
How can you shut it off?
I mean, that's what happens. So they just cut off your internet. Yes. But the federal government kept the internet open and citizens can communicate. We should acknowledge that. And again, encourage them to continue to do that. Even during the elections, the internet was open. So we need to flag those high points. They've also, you've heard the panels, about 15, 16 states have set up the panels now. And the panels are calling for memorandum from citizens to tell them, if you have been violated by SARS, tell us, then let's get them sued. I like what Lagos State has done. They've listed all the policemen that have been charged to court. They have given us information on the court itself. The Nigerian Human Rights Commission have developed a list of their focal points in all of the 36 states, and they're also calling for memorandum. All right, so our citizens can get justice for what has happened. We must also now start looking at the role of nonprofits. For those of us working in this space, we would have to take forward many of these demands into policies. and also help citizens to connect to platforms that provides them the opportunity to monitor and also to look at how exactly are these demands being met. One of that platform is Tracker, Tracker that is developed by Budget. It helps you to look at what is being planned in your senatorial district, what project is there, and you can report back to government whether that project is working or not. I think one benefit of this is that we now have citizens that are interested more in issues that affect them. We do hope that this is sustained and that it has some level of implication for policy, for implementation, for monitoring, and also for evaluation. But we must give it to the government that have quickly, arrested the situation, joining the protesters. I think Kwara also joined the protesters, talked with them, was on Okada to go to the police station and say, see, we don't want this and all. People want the solidarity at this time. Again, remembering that they are not protesting against us, so we don't know what they feel. But even in all of those feelings, many of them were humane at the state level. They sympathize, and one should acknowledge their leadership. You also want to acknowledge the leadership of the Speaker of the House of Representatives by the actions that he also took. Yeah. Yes, some of the actions might be late, but you have to acknowledge that. Let me put myself in their shoes. What would I have done? Would I have done differently? What are the lessons that we're learning there? So we are documenting all of this for how to lead in a protest. What kind of leadership do you need? We need empathy. We need a leadership that identifies and takes concrete action and that can use that to build trust, all right? And we need a leadership that can communicate. And Lagos State has done that so much. They are communicating now. I saw the governor's speech in Yoruba language, all right? So he was using English before now. He has started using Yoruba language to talk to citizens. And, there are a lot of campaigns coming from that.
That's what we were saying before, making it human. He wants to relate.
Absolutely. So you see the Lagos State governor making it human. You see Seyi Makinde of Oyo State making it human. You see Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State making it human, all right? In fact, providing security for the protesters to move. So we need to document all of this as positives that we can reinforce as peer pressure for other governments to say, see, when we have this, there are still governors that were human, that were sane, and they might have made few mistakes in their decisions, errors of judgment, but then they stayed true to that commitment of citizens' rights to peaceful protest, and they provided that security. We're sad of the situation that we're in now, but there are a lot of lessons to be learned there. Again, SARS has been banned, all right? The actions that now follows needs all of us, from the media to civil society to churches to mosques, so that we can all bring all of those evidences and ensure that those that need justice gets the justice that they deserve.
George, you want to add something?
Okay, let me come in there. Let me come in there. Yes, let me come in there. I want to thank BC for highlighting those images, and also want to insist that like there's a proverb in Igbo, that if a hunter went to have a game and he shot at an antelope. Shot at an antelope, the antelope ran away. It's okay, no problem. If you go today, tomorrow, I will come back to you. So yeah, the political class have escaped. They have escaped, seemingly with some bruises on their faces now. So what means that they are now conscious of the fact that the literate, the public, the citizens are mobilized and galvanized without cost on them. I mean, without cost on the people. So one of the takeaways of this EndSARS is that there is that mass citizen consciousness. Without cost on them. I mean, without cost on the people. So one of the things that it is within our beyond to go beyond leadership to begin to remember what happened in Imo State is very interesting. That's a very bad road, Lekki Iyagba road. You can see the photo. One of the days of this protest, people marched into that bad road, filled with poto and marched from the one end of it, and we are videoing it. Drawing the attention of the state government to why this road is like this, only for the state government to come up to say that road is a federal road. And for many days before the protest, the state government had remained silent. So one of the takeaways of this is the fact that citizens now know that they can be more engaged in governance other than voting.
They are cautious. Not
They are cautious.
yes, yeah.
On the hand of the political class, there's also that understanding that we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
These people I don't open. Because when they began to make demands about, somebody carried a placard that read SARS. SARS meaning no more special anti-robbery squad. SARS now means Senate and the representative salary. Senate and the reps salary is another SARS. They are beginning to draw attention to the humongous salary of the political class. The fact that over 60% of our budget goes into recurrent is an issue that must be addressed. It's an outflow. That understanding that these people know indeed that we are bleeding the country. So that is one thing that this protest has helped to do. The political class know that now know that it is no longer a game for them. They now know that the people we are ruling are now more mobilized. And also at the end of it is that by 2023, we're expecting that there's going to be a massive. In the last election, there were about 45 million Nigerians out of 200 million Nigerians that actually registered to vote. And about 15 million people voted for the president, which is less than 33% of the population. According to experts, that last election was the least recorded, the least in terms of voter turnout in Africa, and the least since 1999. We are expecting that the outcome of this consciousness will lead to mass interest. Yes, there will be mass interest in people coming out to vote. And I also know that going by what is happening now, the citizens are not happy. The people ruling them are now trying to make them happy. There could be some level of rapprochement, what the French will call rapprochement. There'll be a rapprochement trying to make them happy, and by delivering some dividends of democracy, in which it is a win-win case. They win and rule well and get the support of the populace, and the populace get better life. Because critical to revolt, critical to protest is dissatisfaction with the system. Because when the system is working, the people will not be on the street marching. There are a lot of things not to work in the country. The healthcare system, the educational system, the social system, the infrastructure are deplorable. So all these things culminated in the anger. And like I said somewhere else, it is not just the SARS killing that actually led to this revolt. It is not. It is a revolution, not a rebellion. They didn't rebel against authorities. There was that consciousness and understanding that we have had enough of these shenanigans. It is time for us to let them know that now we be government, not them be government. That is what actually one of the takeaways in this protest.
All right, my uniques, you guys have it. So the hashtag EndSARS, they started good due to corruption, impunity, so many other factors. They turned into what we Nigerians, I'm a Nigerian, we Nigerians couldn't even recognize. They have been banned, but they still continue their activities. A lot of things happened. It started way from what we are getting. It started way online through the phone. You see, people say internet has made the world a global village. Because of these phones, anything can happen here, and you guys will know about it in the next minute because of the internet. And I like the way you guys concluded with what has happened, or the achievements of SARS, even the EndSARS movement, even though we have not reached where we want to be, but we were not where we used to be. We are getting there. I know like you said, the politicians, the government, they are scared now, because Nigeria is a place where they think the rich can do whatever they want, people in politics can do whatever they want, and we don't say nothing to them. It's like they only need us when they want us to vote for them. And once we vote for them, that's it. They don't need any other relationship with us. But now, the consciousness, the understanding, they now know that these people are awake. In Nigeria, whenever I go to Nigeria, they tell me, shine your eyes. They have seen now that they are shining their eyes, that our eyes are wide open. We are seeing what they're doing, and we are putting an end to it. So I thank God that they have come to, everybody's going to go to the table. We're going to negotiate, and a lot of things have to change. Our education system has to change. Health system has to change. Life, the standard of living has to change. We live in a country where the rich keeps getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. There is no middle ground. There is no middle family. There is no middle nothing. It's either you are up here or you are down here. So I hope that this movement, this EndSARS movement, is not just about ending SARS, from what I'm understanding from you guys. It's not just about the police brutality. It's about every other thing that you're saying, enough, it's enough. Now we have come to the end, so that we don't make this video too long. I'm going to give you the first opportunity. Say something to somebody out there watching you. Say something to the government if they are watching. We don't know who's going to watch this video. Say something to the youth. Say something to the government. Say something to our country, Nigeria, from your heart. Talk to them about this. Then I'll get to you, Oyebisi.
All right, thank you very much. Viewers, thank you for your time. I think you would have enjoyed yourself, just like I've enjoyed myself here, and I keep enjoying myself. But one of the things I'm going to leave you behind today is I want to talk to the Nigerian youth. And SARS protest is not about destroying properties. It is not about burning properties. It's not about killing. I want you to, as much as you protest, take away violence. Violence does not achieve anything. If we burn government properties, we're actually hurting ourselves. We are wounding ourselves, you know. So EndSARS protest is not about burning. It's not about killing. It's not about, you know, destroying. It's about making your voice heard. Two, I want to also thank the government for showing some responsiveness for the demand. That is inevitably so, because they are beholden to listen to us. They are listening to us. Now we are going to give them benefit of the doubt to see how much they are going to, you know, walk their talk. But having said that, I must thank the governor of Lagos State, who has not. I don't think he has slept in the last couple of days, you know, because he has had something that is very, very challenging to him. You know, I want to give him a thumbs up, and also essentially tell Nigerians that Nigeria is our country. It's a country that we should be proud of. 200 million people with some of the best brains across the world, some of the best talents, some of the best, you know, capabilities around the world. All we need to do is to fix our leadership, and everything will go well with us. We are not gonna like going down to all embassies of various countries of this world that do not even have half of the capacities we have to begin to ask, can we come to a country where we can do the best we can do with our country? But getting Nigeria better is required from every one of us. Let us, in our various corners, work towards remaking Nigeria. Nigeria has been made bad, that Nigerians can be remade. Thank you.
Yes, let me thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to your audience, the Americans, Nigerians, and everybody watching globally. One is to say that we must all learn from this protest. Like I've said before, when someone is protesting against you, it is very difficult situation to manage. So there are a lot of lessons to be learned. To the young people that have protested, we've all heard you loud and clear, even as an executive director of the Nigerian Network of NGOs. I've heard you loud and clear. And it's to say that I work with a young population within my office consists of young people, and they've roasted me a lot. So I've also heard them loud and clear. But it's to also say that we would continue to look at this, document this, and see how things go. We should talk to Nigerians in the diaspora also. Please, when something is forwarded to you, look at it, review it, think through it before you share further. And stop saying I have my sources. It's my sources that sent it to me. It is authentic. Please be careful. We're in a world of fake news, disinformation, deep fake, and all of. We're not saying information are not true, but let's balance it. Let's be cautious before we send further. Let's ask our questions. Can this be true?
Let's fact check. Let's fact check. Yes.
Yeah. Fact checking. Fact checking. Thank you. That's the right one. Let's fact check before we send. And also, you know, if you can't stand by any information, please don't disseminate it as much as possible. Once again, let me thank you for this opportunity. And to thank the Nigerian government for taking action. We are watching them, and hopefully we will build back that trust that citizens want, both the businesses, civil society, and also government.
Thank you very much to you guys, and to all my uniques out there. You have had it all. And for the youth, from me to you guys, we have seen you, we have had you, we know what you guys are doing, we support what you guys are doing, but please, you can protest without being angry and violent. Let's stop the stealing, let's stop the killing, let's stop the destroying of stuff, but we can say what we need to say without doing all that. And to the government, thank you for listening. And what you guys have said, we are listening to, and we are going to hold guys accountable for the words you have used. Because it's not just saying it, we are going to see the actions that are going to start behind those words. And for those of you in diaspora, majority of us that are in diaspora, when they send you those videos, when they send you those emails, please, Oyabisi said something that tickled me. He said, the misinformation, the disinformation, and twisting the truth. Those are three things. It might be the truth, but it has been twisted. It might be misinformation or it might be disinformation. Please fact check your information. Check it, make sure that it is real. Hold on a second. Check it and make sure it is real. Excuse me. Check your information, make sure it is real before you begin to share. And to all Nigerians out there, we are one Nigeria. Nigeria is our country. No matter where we go, no matter where we live, excuse me, there is no place like home. We are all going to come together, like Joe said, and remake Nigeria. Rebuild Nigeria. Nigeria is a beautiful, resourceful country. It is not to brag, but I tell you guys, Nigerians have the first-class brains in the whole world. Wherever you go and you don't find a Nigeria, nobody lives there. Being honest with you, nobody lives there. Everywhere you go, even here in America, wherever you enter, the top 1, 2, 3 are Nigerians. Very blessed country. Let us begin to invest in our country so that we can make it a better place to live in. And all the people that live there will be comfortable to call Nigeria our home. Thank you very much. Thank you to Joel for coming. Thank you to Oyesi for coming. Thank you very much. Till next time, remember to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, share this video, and please go to the comment section and tell us what you think and what you feel about this. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. Bye.